Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 13 of Diehlman at Halftime, the NBA podcast that tops all others. I'm your host, Larry Diehlman. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome aboard, and if you've been a loyal listener, welcome back. We have much to get to today and not a lot of time to do it. We have 5 sections that we'll get into: a general overview of the NBA this week, and our usual highlight, lowlight, random stat, and game of the week. Let's go to our content for the week. Despite returning to the winning column temporarily, the Memphis Grizzlies were dealt a major setback last week. After just 9 games, Ja Morant received season-ending shoulder surgery. The subluxation or dislocation of his shoulder was suffered in a team practice. Morant just returned from a 25-game suspension in late December. Remember, that suspension was from Instagram Live incidents that happened last season. Memphis was 6-3 in the 9 games Morant appeared in, and he was averaging about 25 points, 5.6 rebounds, and about 8 assists per game. The Grizzlies are 5.5 games out from a play-in tournament seed, so maybe anything is possible. Also, Miami Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra was given a huge extension in the past week. The Heat extended him for 8 years and over $120 million. In his time with the Heat, Spoelstra won back-to-back titles when LeBron James was in South Beach. He was also named a top 15 coach in NBA history. Spoelstra was an assistant from 1997 through 2008, and he's been the head coach since 2008. Obviously, this contract is well-deserved after the Heat went on their improbable finals run last season before losing to Denver in 5 games. Under his direction, as well as from Pat Riley in the front office, Miami is known for their Heat culture, where the players play hard and even non-star players put up good numbers. From a video coordinator to an all-time great head coach. What a story. This episode is entitled Angels in the Architecture. So, who's raising eyebrows at the moment? Let's go to our highlight, the LA Clippers. Are you telling me that the LA Clippers are legit this year? Quite possibly. The Clippers are 25-14 and 4th in the West. After some early hiccups when James Harden arrived, it has been smooth sailing since. The Beard is dropping 17 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 8.4 assists per game in LA. But before he came back to his hometown, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were running the show. Leonard was just handed a 3-year, $153 million extension to stay with the Clippers. George's extension is apparently getting there. This experiment seems to be working thus far, despite fans wondering how it would work. Russell Westbrook sacrificed his starting role to lead the bench unit. Leonard and George are staying healthy for the first time in a while. Basically, with the Lakers' roller coaster of a season right now, the Clippers are taking advantage. Besides Denver, the Clippers have one of the most experienced rosters in the summit of the Western Conference. LA has only been to the conference finals once, and that was in the 2020 through 21 season. They've never made the NBA Finals, by the way. Could this be the year they overcome these hurdles? The Clippers' next game is on Tuesday, January 16th at 10 p.m. They will host the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's go to our low light, the LA Lakers. Playing in a major media market means that you'll most likely be subjected to more criticism than other cities. The LA Lakers are 19-21 and 11th in the West. The Lakers have been struggling recently, and fans aren't taking it too well. There have been calls to fire head coach Darvin Ham because of his odd rotations. In recent games, LA has been slapped by Miami, Memphis, and Phoenix. However, all is not lost. LeBron James is averaging 24.7 points, about 7 rebounds, 7.6 assists, and 1.4 steals per game. Heck, the man just turned 39 years old. Anthony Davis is putting up his usual stats, a 25 and 12 double-double along with great defense. I've seen rumors floating around that LA wants to acquire DeJounte Murray from Atlanta, and they're also trying to find a new home for D'Angelo Russell. To put it nicely, Russell is very inconsistent. For a team that made the Western Conference Finals last season against the eventual champion Nuggets, why in the world are they barely keeping their head above water below the play-in tournament seeds? Will LA make some moves or will they try to ride this out? The Lakers' next game is tonight, Monday, January 15th at 10:30 p.m. They will host, you guessed it, the Oklahoma City Thunder. To get more insight into our lowlight this week, we have our third guest on Diehlman at halftime. Let's get into it. So for our third guest on the Diehlman at Halftime podcast, we welcome Jack Miller. Jack is currently a senior at Rowan University pursuing a sports communication and media degree with a concentration in radio, TV, and film production, or RTF. He is among the small group of radio play-by-play broadcasters for Rowan Radio and Rowan Athletics. Jack is also the sports director for Rowan Radio's sports department. Jack, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Was sick the past week. Couldn't talk about my good old Thunder, but I'm feeling better now. I still have a lingering cough, but we're getting back into the swing of things. So.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. So, Jack, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Lakers as they are our low light for this upcoming episode. So, the
Yeah.
Lakers continue to hover around 500 in the Western Conference. So, my first question to you, there have been rumors lately of players being unhappy with head coach Darvin Ham's rotations. Do you believe firing a coach this early would be a bad look, even for a big market team like the Lakers?
With the Lakers and Darvin Ham, I've never liked it. And it's obviously the players don't like it, as you said. I don't like firing someone this early, but I'm never opposed to firing a coach in the middle of the season. I think now is a little too early. I would say maybe late January, maybe February, before the break, the All-Star break, is a good time to do it to show that you are serious about this team and how good you want to be as soon as possible. With with this team, I would not be opposed of them doing that. I think right now it's a little too early, but if you do it later in the middle of the season, that's a good like heads up for the Lakers in signs that they want to win and win now and get back to that at least Western Conference Finals team that they were last year. But they struggled at first too, and they were able to get all the way through the roughs of the bottom of the Western Conference and build their way up to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know what I think with the Lakers they have a chance to get back up there.
Yeah, some good points there. And I just saw a quote from Darvin Ham, and he had said something about, this is a marathon. We can't be, panicking at the first, bit of adversity. But you think about it too, and like you said, Darvin Ham came from the Bucks. The Bucks are not a big market team. They're a
Yeah.
big team. There's a difference between being a big team and a big market team. A big team is, your perennial contenders. A big market team means that everyone focuses on them. And obviously the Milwaukee Bucks are a smaller market than the LA Lakers, where every time something goes wrong, it's time to panic. So
hmm
it's been an interesting ride so far. Darvin Ham, I agree. Yeah, it's not the right time right now to dump him. So LeBron James, as part of my second question, just turned 39 last month. He's
Yeah.
still dropping 25 points a night and playing about 35 minutes. Is Father Time going to catch up to him in the near future? even the greatest athletes slow down eventually. I mean, do you see it happening sooner rather than later?
No, honest, like genuinely, it's hard. There's never a sign of regression from him, and you can't say father time has like could catch up to him because he's been a father for 19 years now, with Bronny, and he has two other kids as well. So there's no sign of him regressing at all. Obviously, age gets to you. We've seen that with other players. As they get to the ends of their careers. But LeBron, he just focuses on basketball. Each season, it's impressive, and the age is just like a wow factor to it. Like this guy just turned 39, and he's still putting up MVP numbers like he did back in Miami. And LeBron just there's not an off switch, and I don't think there will be. And I think that he will be definitely one of the most consistent players that we've ever seen in the game of basketball. Obviously, he's in the GOAT conversation, and that's one of the points that you can make for him is that he's never digressed in his game of basketball, and he won't. I don't think he will slow down. I think he will probably retire just because, just because of family reasons, not because he's digressing as a player.
Yeah, some good points there. It's just amazing to see LeBron continually put up these numbers despite, you know, basically being almost 40 years old. And,
He's a
back,
superhuman.
yeah, back in the day, players might reach about 35, 36. All right, I'm done. And now LeBron's saying he wants to keep going and play with Bronny wherever he gets drafted. I'm not saying he's going number one overall, but we'll see what happens. Maybe he even backs up his promise that maybe he'll go to the team Bronny gets drafted. Now, if
I
it's
think he will. I genuinely think he will.
if it's the Pistons, forget it. But if it's
Sure.
somewhere out west, maybe. So
I think it has to be a reasonable marketed team.
yeah,
Like even if he went to like the Rockets or like the Spurs or something, like a team that's not doing that great,
yeah.
but still like a decent market, he'll go.
All right. So, do you believe that winning the in-season tournament has been a distraction for the Lakers? We saw them, they had a banner, they're making a big deal about it and stuff like that. And what I mean by that, as in, are they going through the motions right now? Even Kobe Bryant said that they raise world championship banners at Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena. But Kobe even said it's not about division titles or conference titles. We only raise title banners at Staples Center. Do you believe that this in-season tournament has been a distraction?
It's been a little bit of a distraction for the Lakers, but it proves that there is really good potential for them, because of how well they did against, especially a team like the Pacers. They did really well against the Indiana Pacers in that final game in the in season tournament. What I really liked is how they made the banner for the in season tournament not one big thing. You saw that there was just the year on there of 2024 or 2023, whatever year it was. I'm assuming it was, whatever year it was, they just
Yeah.
put one of them there and they left a lot of space for future years to come. And I like that because it shows that this one, like, we're not going to keep putting up multiple different banners for him because it's just an in-season tournament. So I think that that part showed them that this isn't gonna like become a distraction, as you said, and we're going to keep pushing forward to the title that we want to get back, and we want our 18th. We want to keep we want to get beyond the Celtics finally. So um, I think it has this season though. It has been a little bit of a distraction for them, but it proves to them that they can get to a really good potential with this team. I mean, Davis was locked in, and this was the most we've seen him locked in since the finals run that they had back in the bubble in 2020. So seeing him this good, it has a lot of promise for him and the Lakers as a team. But right now they're just looking pretty buck average right now, and it's really tough because there is a lot of potential, not just Davis, but with other players on that squad as well, with Reeves and also Christian Wood.
So yeah, some good points. I'd have to say with the play-in tournament idea a few years ago, I was just kind of against it, and I'm like, well, are we just going to let every team into the playoffs now? And I eventually warmed up to it. It brought us some good games. I guess with this in-season tournament, again, it brings you some good games. I still don't really understand like why, like it doesn't mean anything. Like LeBron winning the in-season tournament, I've been kind of saying like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with him being compared to MJ because, it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I guess I'm just conflicted on it, but I get what you're saying.
With
Uh,
the Pacers moving on to the way they did in that
right,
in season tournament, they had a prize for each player, which was 500K or 750 or something.
right,
But that's a lot of money for some of those small guys because especially with a team like the Pacers, they don't have a lot of money and not a lot of those players are on contracts like the guys on the Lakers, right? Obviously, it doesn't look that much when you compare it to Lakers contracts and stuff like that. But with those players on the Pacers, that money kind of means a lot when it's kind of a fourth year contract for some players, so they're playing for that bonus because it's a big boost in their contract. So with those small market teams, it means a lot, and especially the small players that don't really have too much of a role on the team, but that money goes a long way for them.
right, right. And yeah, like you said, not everybody has a contract like Tyrese Halliburton, and
Yeah.
even though he, plays for the Pacers, but I get
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're saying there. Good points there. So my final question for this, what do you think is the Lakers championship window? 1 or 2 years, longer? LeBron has 4 championships right now. He's looking for that fifth, trying to catch MJ. But what do you think is this window? Right now, they're in the play-in tournament if the season ended today. But, they lost to the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic was just throwing up shots and it was his time. But do you think the Lakers like have a window or is it closing rapidly?
I think it's closing. And I'm gonna be completely honest. My thing is with LeBron and Davis, it's a great combo. It's not working. They need what I loved about the Lakers that won the finals in 2020 was the fact that they had Rondo and guys like Bradley and Green.
Yep.
Because Davis and Bron, they can do whatever they want. They don't shoot the ball that much, but they can do whatever they want. But Rondo passes the ball, and those guys like Avery Bradley and Danny Green just shot threes. And that's all they need, right? But Austin Reeves is starting to get into his own head now where he's becoming this superstar kind of player in his head and he's also shooting a lot, but sometimes they don't really fall in for him. And that's I don't really like Austin. That's not his role. That's not Austin Reeves' role. The problem with some of these players going to the Lakers is because of Braun and Davis. They don't know their role sometimes. It happened with Westbrook. Westbrook was absolute trash on the Lakers, and he couldn't find his role there. He had to be the main ball handler, and now he's the main ball handler for the bench squad for the Clippers, and it's working out, honestly. But with this window, I don't think that they win a championship with LeBron or Davis because it hasn't been, they can't get any players to fit their roles that they want them to fit. They had the players, but they've moved on or retired or whatever. It's going to be some new guy that some new reformation of the Los Angeles Lakers in probably 4 or 5 years that I don't know who's going to be the star on that team. We will have no idea, but at this point, I really do think unless the Lakers can pull some magic out of the hat for the rest of the season, I really don't see a lot of promise, at least for a championship team with them with the squad that they have now. I don't think they have all the pieces, and I don't think they will with Braun and Davis. They gotta rebuild. Honestly, I think it might be time if Ham is not the problem and they don't do well with a new coach, it's the players' problem. That's when you got to rebuild, and I think that's probably an issue. Is just it's the fact that Ham is with Braun and Davis, and Braun kind of likes to be the coach a little bit, but they need to rebuild at least for the coaching staff part right now. But if it's not the coaching staff, you got to rebuild the players. You got to regroup.
Some interesting takes there, and I think with Laker fans, that's a scorching hot take. They don't want to
Yeah.
hear a rebuild, but it might be time eventually. with LeBron's age and
Bron's
AD
going to move on at some
injury
point.
history.
So,
So yeah, you're right. You're right.
yeah.
So I'll add in one more thing
Okay.
because you were sick last week.
Yeah.
So Jack is a Thunder fan, and
Yeah.
last
Love it.
week's episode was about the Thunder, and unfortunately, we could not get him on for last week's episode. So I'll throw in a Thunder question just for the heck of it.
Let's
So
go.
Jack, give me your thoughts on the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. Your thoughts on the season, how you think they'll do for the rest of the season, and what their championship window is looking like right now.
Oh man, it's great to see them on the other side of the Western Conference standings. It was rough seeing them 15th, 14th, 13th. Now they're second, and that looks great. I mean, seeing SGA being an MVP and also having Chet Holmgren this season, it's been a nice touch. We still have holes. I won't lie. There's still some holes that we need to fill. Um, but we've been proving that we can beat top caliber teams. We've not just beat them, we've kind of dominated in some of these games. Specifically against the Timberwolves, also the Denver Nuggets, we manhandled them. This past week, it's been a little weird because they've been having trouble with the Hawks and the Nets. That's a little confusing to me. I don't know what's going on with that. Our main thing is we need our stats are great across the board, both offensively and defensively. But we need to get a guy that's just interior minded for this team. It doesn't have to be a big name. Like it doesn't have to be like the best center in the league or anything. Like you don't gotta go put all your draft picks with somebody. You just need some guy that just is interior minded, that can just defend the paint, but can also attack the paint on offense. And with that, it's good. You don't have to rely on Chet Holmgren or J Dubs in the paint that often because you don't want them really in the paint that much. It's just another thing for them to do. And J Dub and Chet Holmgren can't be the guy that these guys turn to for rebounds. We need to go someone that's just interior minded in the paint, that can get you blocks, can get you rebounds, can get you points in the paint. And with that, this Thunder team can be the best it can be and can go for a pretty deep run. No matter how young and we are, I genuinely think that we could at least make it to the second round, maybe farther. To the finals, that would be crazy, but I do think they can make at least some kind of deep run into the playoffs, and it should be fun if you like the Thunder. So, but we just need we need to get someone interior minded in the trade deadline, and yeah, I think once we do that, then we're pretty much good to make our deep push.
Now let's go to our random stat. No matter what happens over the course of a season, it always feels good to get a win on your home court. If you're the Boston Celtics, this statement is especially true. Boston is an absurd 19-0 at home so far in the 2023-24 season. None of the other 29 NBA teams have fewer than 2 home losses. It just goes to show you how much of an advantage it is to have a home crowd like Beantown. In their last 3 home games, the Celtics have done the following: destroyed the Rockets by 32, beat the West's top seed Minnesota by 7 in overtime, and destroyed the Jazz by 29. According to StatMuse, the Celtics are averaging 124.4 points per game at home and 118.6 points per game away from TD Garden. That's a point differential of 5.8. The 1985-86 Celtics and the 2015-16 Spurs hold the league record for the best home record in a single season with 40-1. Although the Warriors represented the West in the 2016 finals, that 86 Celtics team actually won the championship. Boston is taking care of business this season, and with the way they're playing, they have a strong chance to lock up the top seed in the East. Will we see another finals berth for Beantown this season? Finally, let's go to Game of the Week. For this week's Game of the Week, let's go with the Denver Nuggets at Philadelphia 76ers. This game is on Tuesday, January 16th at 7:30 p.m. If Joel Embiid returns from his knee injury in time for this game, it will be a game to behold. Either Embiid or Nikola Jokic have been the league's MVP for the previous 3 seasons, and Jokic added to his Hall of Fame resume with a ring and Finals MVP 7 months ago. The last time these two teams met in South Philly, January 28, 2023 to be exact, Embiid dropped 47 points and the game-winning 3 on Jokic. The only negative thing about this rivalry is that we only get to see Sixers Nuggets twice a year since they're in opposite conferences, or if they meet in the finals. Denver has one of the most consistent lineups in the league, and Philadelphia looks great even with James Harden gone. I have a feeling this will be a split series. I'll go with the Sixers, 115-112. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on social media. I have 2 Twitter accounts and 2 Instagram accounts. The podcast accounts are under @Diehlman_NBA for both Twitter and Instagram. My personal Twitter is @LarryDiehlman18, and my personal Instagram is @Mr_Sports18. They're also in the description on SoundCloud. And thank you to Jack Miller for being our guest this week on the podcast. Remember, you can follow him on Twitter and Instagram @JZMiller02. And don't forget to spread the word about Diehlman at halftime. See you next time, fellow Hoops fans.